welcome once again, blah, 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 to the Kid and Eric Show podcast. Tonight, it's actually tonight, and if you're hearing this, no, it is not Thursday or Friday. It is actually Wednesday evening, Thanksgiving Eve. I wanted to get a quick episode out before Thanksgiving. I normally do the episodes every Thursday, but this week is Thanksgiving, and I'm not going to be doing an episode on Thursday, so I'm going to do it today, Wednesday evening. So, yeah, it's a bit different to do it in the middle of the night. I mean, it's not the middle of the night, it's like 10:30, but it's fun. It's fun to do it. I usually do it like right after work on Thursdays in the afternoon, but today, I'm doing it tonight. But welcome to the show. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you to all new listeners, and thank you to returning listeners. I really, really appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. You can also find me from this show and another show, and then my other content on all my socials. Facebook, TikTok, X. I was going to say Twitter, but it's no longer Twitter. It's called X, YouTube, and then Truth Social. So I do try to post other content, other videos and things, different things that I just am not able to get to during this part of the show, or just because there's right now, I mean, there's just so much stuff to talk about. There's just so much information going out, so much just... Sometimes it seems like so much just awfulness, but yeah. So you can check out my other things. I post a lot of other videos, and you can see my handsome face on those, and it'd be fun. So please like, subscribe, follow, and share. It would be great. Then we can get this out to more people. Then more people see it. The algorithm goes out. So it is working because we are the show here, this audience, and you're a great audience. I really appreciate everything. Let's just check out here. There's a new city actually came in this time around. Let's see. We've got 5 countries: United States, Denmark, Malaysia, Canada, United Kingdom, and then 66 different cities. And I still maybe this weekend I'll go over and count the states, so I know how many states they're in. Where everybody is listening. But yeah, we keep adding new cities to the audience, so it's great. I love it. Please keep it up. And yeah. So this show, of course, I'll get into some Thanksgiving. There was an update today on the Israel-Hamas war / Iran with their puppets, Hamas and Hezbollah and everything else. But Israel has agreed to a ceasefire, and so it'll be about, I guess they're saying about 5 days. They're going to release 50 hostages. Apparently they have to go out and find the hostages because it was just, I guess they didn't catalog them, and they don't have them all in one little spot. So supposedly Hamas and the Palestinians are going to give back 50 hostages that were taken during the October 7th raid. The absolute horrendous raid that it's just, Israel is like the most patient I've ever, it's just, it's astounding. I mean, you talk to people online and they're like, oh, it's an occupation. It's an occupation. It's stolen land. There needs to be a ceasefire. They're killing. Israel's killing millions of people. No, that's not the facts. That's not what's going on. If Israel really wanted to take over Gaza or the West Bank, they could easily do it. I mean, come on. So the fact that they're this precise, and there's gonna be civilian casualties. That's just the nature of war. That's just how these kind of things go, unfortunately. I mean, World War II, there's a lot of civilian casualties. Any war, no matter, throughout history, civilians die, unfortunately. That's just what happens. There's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, so there is going to be a ceasefire, or if you want to call it that, or a temporary stoppage. And so the Palestinians, they want 150 prisoners. They, if you want to call them they'll call them hostages, but they're just prisoners, people that came into Israel, broke the law, and then they went to jail. And of course, on the left there, and the pro-Palestinian lovelies, they all, they'll talk about them being hostages, but they're just criminals, and they just want 150 criminals. So it's a 3-to-1 deal for the Palestinians. And so they'll get some prisoners back in Israel. Hopefully, I think there are some Americans that are being released, so we'll get that. And then I guess, who knows what's going to happen if Hamas is going to rearm and, redeploy booby traps or whatever that they've got going on. But so that's kind of the new update for that. It's just incredible. It's just the patience that Israel has is just incredible. I did not get to sports. I don't know if I'll get to sports. BYU almost beat Oklahoma. I usually do sports here in the beginning before all this stuff. But if you're new to the show, that's kind of how it goes. FSU's quarterback is out for the season. He's done, even though there was only one game, the conference game, and then who knows what's going to happen with the NCAA, the playoff there. It'll be quite the mess. It'll be fun to figure it out. But yeah, he's done. He got a horrific ankle injury where it was bending in the wrong position. Let's just say that it was really bad. So he's out. So that really sucks for Florida State. They crushed Northern Alabama. They do have Florida as their last game. Gosh, it's amazing. It's already one game of the regular season for college football, and the NFL is halfway over. So BYU lost again. So frustrating. It was a frustrating game. They could have beaten freaking Oklahoma. Texas did beat Iowa State, but the big game this weekend is Michigan, Ohio State. So we'll see how that goes with two unbeaten teams. And let's get into this here. This other stuff. So that's kind of the, I guess, college football update and NFL update for this week. Because there's some things I want to get to, and I don't want this episode to be too long. Being it is Thanksgiving Eve, and it's pretty late. But we got to keep it going. We got to keep this show going. We got to get the truth out there. So, and today, of course, we'll go over Thanksgiving, how important the First Amendment is, just the doofus face that Biden really is. So let's go over the First Amendment here, and just how important it is. Because let's listen to everybody talks about, everything's so great in Europe. Everything's so great in Europe. America's just awful. It's just the worst. So everything's just so much better over there. Is it really though? I mean, come on. So let's just take a list. Let's just do some comparison, some contrast of the different things. So we'll go kind of see what happens in England, who you would think would be free, and they would have, the same sort of freedoms that we do here in America. And then we'll compare that with North Korea, and just kind of see how things go, and then what they're trying to do here in America. So let's take a listen here to the gentleman in England.
People do you think were arrested in Britain for things they said on social media last year?
Go on.
Take a guess.
I have no idea.
3,300.
Really? Arrested for what they said on social media?
Yeah.
Really? What sort of things get you
Well,
arrested?
one example I give in my show is there was a young woman from Liverpool called Chelsea Russell. People can look this up. Her friend was killed in a car crash, a 19-year-old woman. And she posted the lyrics of his favorite song on her Instagram. The lyrics. And it was a rap song, so the lyrics contained several instances of the N-word. Okay. She was arrested, prosecuted, found guilty, given 500 hours of community service and a fine, tagged, and for a year she was under 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew.
In Britain.
in 2018.
But you're telling me now that 3,500 people were visited by the police.
No, far more visited by the police. Far more.
So that's a bit interesting. Bit interesting there that her friend died and she posted some lyrics. Apparently a rap video where they said the N-word a lot. And she was arrested for posting that on social media in Britain. So there's that. And then let's listen to some North Korea. This Joe Rogan interviewed a lady who escaped from North Korea, and her story is just eye-opening. So here's what she had to say.
And I was gonna escape. But when North Koreans say when you are escaping, of course we don't have phones, we don't have a map, we don't know what's the outside world look like. So at night, it is literally the darkest place on earth. We don't have electricity. So I was seeing these lights coming from China. I thought like if I go where the lights were, we would be finding some bowl of rice. So at 16, my sister left with her friend, and she left me a note while I was in the hospital. And
so, I'm gonna stop it there for a second. She wants to go to China just to get a bowl of rice, because that's what they do in North Korea. But yeah, but communism, that's good. That's great. People here in America scream about communism and how wonderful it is, how wonderful socialism is. So there's some. I'll let you listen to the rest of her.
Then as soon as I got out of the hospital, I found a note. Initially, my mom and I went to look for sister where she went. But when we found the lady, she told me that she could help me to go to China that day.
And so this was you and your mother, and you were 13 years old?
Yeah. I told my mom, like, come with me to China. My mom was like, no, my father was home. He was waiting. Tragic thing for us, because we cannot even say goodbye to our loved ones. So if we got caught on the journey, and if my father knew that we were escaping, he's gonna be punished so much. So it's better off that he does not know that we are escaping.
Then there's another part. Just a minute.
In North Korea, every room has to have a portrait of kings. And the inspector comes out of nowhere in the middle of the night and then touch the portraits. If they see any dust, they say your royalty is not high enough. And then you can get executed and sent to prison camp 3 generations of your family.
So if the picture is dusty, you get executed?
Yeah, and if your house gets on fire, first thing is not you running with your family or your children or parents. You have to protect the portrait with your life. Otherwise, the 3 generation gets punished for that.
So there's just some different contrasts between England, North Korea, and then here in the United States, from the great state of New York. This is what the governor there wants to do.
Today I'm directing the Director of Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services to develop media literacy tools for K through 12 in our public schools. This will teach students and even teachers to help understand how to spot conspiracy theories and misinformation, disinformation, and online hate. Start talking about what we're seeing out there. Give the teachers the tools they need to help these conversations in school. And by teaching younger New Yorkers about how to discern between digital fact and digital fiction, we can better inoculate them from hatred and the spread of it, and help prepare them for a very fast-moving and often confusing world.
So I think what she meant to say there is indoctrinate them. I think that's what she meant to say there. So who determines what's misinformation and who determines that? Who determines what can and cannot be said? Is it her? Is it some 3-letter acronym government agency? Because that's not how we do it here in the United States of America. At least that's not how it was set up that we do it. Here in the U.S., what we do is we have what's called the First Amendment, right? We have the First Amendment, which it reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Little side note, there's no separation of church and state in the Constitution, just so you know. That's not in there. Because otherwise it would probably have been said right there. It's not in the Constitution, so that's not real. It goes on, the First Amendment, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. I think that part's taking a little, there's a lot of leeway with that last part, with all these rallies, if you want to call them that, for the Palestinians, riots, BLM a few years ago. BLM, Antifa. So here in America, we have that called the First Amendment, right? They don't have that in England. They don't have anything. They don't have anything anywhere near close to that in North Korea. The fact, could you imagine if we had to have the picture of Joseph Biden in our house, and that if there's a fire, you can't rescue your family, they have to basically be sacrificed for this stupid picture of Biden? Could you imagine that? Oh my gosh. I would oh man, I would fake an ankle sprain or something and be like, dang, I just couldn't get to that picture of Biden. I just couldn't get to that picture. But yeah, so that's what happens in North Korea. If there's a fire, you got to rescue that stupid picture of Kim Jong, whatever his face is, Kim Jong-un or whatever his fat face is. And if you don't, you're executed. You go to prison for 3 generations is what she said. And then in England, if you even post lyrics that other people said, you didn't say that, that wasn't like you were saying those words, you go to, you're arrested and you have a fine. And then you get, what did that guy say, 500 hours of community service? Yeah. There was also a story there in England where a guy was just praying across the street. I believe it was from one of those abortion clinics, and then he was arrested. He was just standing there. He wasn't interacting. He wasn't saying anything. But yeah, they arrested him because he was standing over there on the other side of the street, mind you, praying for the lives of the unborn children that apparently think, these people think there's a right that we have to slaughter them. Which, yeah, that's not in the Constitution either. There's no right that says, yeah, you can kill your unborn children. That's probably where the separation of church and state is located as well. The right to kill your unborn children, that's probably where those all are at. And if you can find that section in the Constitution, please let me know anywhere. The Caden Eric Show. But yeah, so the amendments that our founding fathers fought for, that the Pilgrims came over on the Mayflower and other such ships, that helped establish this nation, this great nation, the greatest nation on earth. Yeah, those amendments right there are the ones that are vastly important, are the ones that absolutely need to be fought for, and absolutely we can't give away are those freedoms. Because if that happens, then yeah, we're going to end up just like North Korea and England there, and we'll be arrested. Because if that were the case, oh baby, this show would not exist. And many others that are like this show would not exist in the land of North Korea. No, there would be none of that. So it is absolutely important to know, first of all, know what the amendments today, know what is actually in the Constitution, and yeah, what those rights protect, because it's not what the government can't do, not what we can't do, it's what the government can't do. So it keeps the government in check. Our job is to keep the government in check, and I think we've kind of got a little lazy. Kind of got a little fat off the farm there, and Yeah, we need to do a little better job. So, in the light of that, in the light of Thanksgiving, and how this great nation came to be, of course, you had the annual pardoning of the two turkeys. I don't know if it's traditionally been two turkeys, but this year President pooped his pants. Pardoned two turkeys. See that right there? What I just said in North Korea? Yeah, that I would probably be shot dead if I said President pooped his pants. So, thank the founding fathers for our freedoms. So let's just kind of take a little listen to what he has to say. Then I want to go over the first Thanksgiving, do a little bit of history on that, because I was reading up on that, and it was amazing. We desperately and absolutely need to get back to what they did and why they celebrated Thanksgiving. It's not about going to, it's not about watching a parade, the Macy's parade. As much as I love football and I'm getting back into the NFL, it's not about football, even though there was a great clip of I saw today on the John Madden. And just he was like, yeah, there's nothing better than Thanksgiving and football. But let's kind of get back to that. So let's see. So Biden the other day, lovely Biden that he is, and then you got Kareem. I always want to say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but that's not her name. I'll just say KJP. The press secretary, how wonderful she is. But let's take a little listen, because apparently Biden is confused. I guess he thinks it's the 1990s, because for whatever reason he's talking about Britney Spears. So, yeah. So Liberty and Bell are the two turkeys he's pardoning. If you're not aware, that's the names of the turkeys that he's pardoning.
Competition. They had to work hard to show patience and be willing to travel over 1,000 miles. You could say even this is harder than getting a ticket to the Renaissance tour or
Britney's tour.
It's kind of warm in Brazil right now.
Oh gosh, Joe. Let's listen to that again.
Now, just to get here, Liberty and Bell had to beat some tough odds in competition. They had to work hard to show patience. Travel over 1,000 miles. You could say even this is harder than getting a ticket to the Renaissance tour or
Renaissance tour.
Britney's tour.
It's kind of warm in Brazil right now. So he's confusing Britney Spears with Taylor Swift, because apparently Taylor Swift is in Brazil. If you didn't know that, I didn't really know that. I think the whole Britney and Travis Kelce thing with football is super obnoxious, and I hate it. But yeah, apparently he's so confused. And after this, that little pardoning of the turkeys, apparently he left that little gathering quite quickly and went back inside. And there's probably a good reason, because there's probably something in his pants that he had to kind of change there. And it's interesting, because he just turned 81 the other day, on the 20th, actually. Happy birthday to President Biden. He's turned 81. 81 years young. That's what he did. He turned 81. But so my other job, my full-time job besides doing this, is I work in healthcare, and I go to different facilities to visit different patients. And in fact, today, one of the patients that I was seeing, we were sitting there watching them. They were doing, the facility there was doing a nice pie eating contest for the different staff. They had to eat 3 pies in a couple minutes. But before that all got started, all those festivities, me and the patient that I was seeing, we were sitting there talking, and then one of the ladies that also lives at the assisted living facility, she came up and she was talking. She had normal conversation, great conversation. And it actually turns out some of the patient that I was seeing, she was like saying that just amazing how great she looks for how old she is, and blah 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 blah. And I guess it came out that she was 81 years old, actually, the same age as President Pooped His Pants. Had to leave the turkey pardoning because he pooped his pants. So she was 81, and we had a full great conversation. She kept up. It was great. And it's just amazing the stark difference that our president is. And I was sitting there thinking, like, it is just incredible. This lady is the same age as Joe Biden, and I'm having a better conversation with her than Joe ever would, because it's, I mean, just what we just heard. And this is that's one little thing. And there's like 5 million other clips of that. I mean, you could spend probably hours over the last 3 years, 2 years and 11 months that we're in. We still have another year. This guy. But anyway, so let's not think about that. So yeah, it was a great conversation. We had a great conversation, and it was just astounding how the difference that, and hopefully everybody's awake to all this crap that they're like, yeah, this guy's got to go bye-bye. There's all kinds of different polls that are saying he's just too old. Obviously, the vast majority of Republicans think he's too old, and there are actually some. I think he's over 50% under where Democrats think that he is too old as well. But yeah, it's just amazing. So this is what KJP, his press secretary, had to say about Thanksgiving dinners, because everybody knows everybody's doing great according to the Pooped His Pants administration. Though, yeah, we're all doing great. Everybody's doing great. You're doing great. Yeah, I'm doing great too. Yeah, we're all doing great. If you don't think so, then something's wrong with you. I mean, if you look at your bank account and there's less money in there from last year, and you go to the store, you pay your bills, and there's less. Yeah, that's not really happening according to these people. You're just doing great. So yeah, you're probably doing great if you're in a massive money laundering scheme like they are. But yeah, this is what she had to say about the Thanksgiving dinner, and how things are going to cost and all that.
Thanksgiving dinner fell this year. Prices are down for turkey, stuffing, peas, cranberries, pie crust, and whipping cream. This Thanksgiving dinner is the 4th cheapest ever as a percentage of average earnings.
Okay, so the Bureau of Labor Stats shows a different picture, David. Since the president took office, the price of turkey has jumped more than 31%. Other holiday staples like bread, potatoes, and pie are also costing more. A recent poll shows deep pessimism among voters. Just 19% say they feel confident that life will be better for their children's generation than it was for them. That's an all-time low for that poll, David.
Well, they're just stupid. They're just dumb. Come on, don't they know how great they're doing? Just how amazing. So the numbers that they had there on it was a Fox News thing that from January 2021, so a couple of years ago, to October of this year, the price of turkey is up 31.2%. The price of bread, 26.1%. The potatoes is 14.6, pie 31.8, and then everything else is up 23.8%. But if you listen to the administration, you're doing just great. You're doing just perfectly fine. So, what's your problem? All these people are whining about what's your problem. But yeah, so that's what's going on. They want to tell you that everything's fine when you look at your bank account, you look at the price of everything, and including the gym that I go to, actually, the price is doubled. So I'm probably not going to go there anymore because it's getting just too freaking expensive. But yeah, everything has gone up, and they try to sit there and convince you otherwise. Basically saying that water is not wet and fire is not hot. That's what they try to tell you there. So, just great news. Hopefully, everybody, if you're traveling this Thanksgiving, apparently there's all kinds of records that if you're traveling, everybody is safe. But I was kind of quite shocked, actually, that there's record travels. They're expecting millions of people. And then if you happen to be on one of these planes, this is what the U.S. Marshals are up to. Not protecting you or going after bad guys, but this is what they're doing.
How many air marshals are on planes right now, and how many do you think there should be to get to a safe level?
Well, Carly, we're not flying right now. The only missions.
So this is gotta get a little background here. All of a sudden, I'm just playing around. Holy crap, these women. But this is from Fox News, one of their anchors. I don't know who she is. And apparently she's interviewing somebody with air marshals.
We're doing our Quiet Skies missions, and those are missions that are following the January 2021 people. So we're either on the border for illegal immigrants, or we're following folks from January 2021. We're not doing our regular missions where we're out there looking for the bad guys. So right now on most planes, we're not going to have air marshals.
What do you mean by that? You're following January 2021 people. What does that mean?
That means our primary mission is a little group called Quiet Skies. It's a mission called Quiet Skies that we're following people that flew into the National Capital Region in January 2021. You did not have to go to the Capitol or the rally, and you've been put on a specific list that TSA now has assigned air marshals to follow these people who have not had any type of criminal investigation. They haven't committed a crime, but yet 3 years later, we're following the same individuals day in and day out.
So you're saying that air marshals are now following people that were at the Capitol on January 6th, and they're not tracking terrorists at all?
Well, they didn't even have to be at the Capitol, Carly. They could have just flown into the National Capital Region. So if anybody was there for a job interview, to visit family, we even had a gentleman that was there for a funeral. They put on this domestic terrorist list just because of their geographic location to Washington, D.C. So these people did not even commit a crime. They weren't even at the Capitol.
Oh my
Do those people know
gosh.
that they're on this list?
Some of them do, because when they go to the airport, they get the quadis's on their boarding pass, and then they have to go through enhanced security. Then they're followed by teams of air marshals on any leg of flight that they have. So yes, a lot of them do know that they're being followed, yet they haven't been vetted, and they have not committed a crime. And 3 years later, we're still doing the same duty, and we followed the same people over and over for 3 years who are no threat to this country.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so if you are an average passenger on a plane, how concerned should you realistically be?
I think you should be very concerned. When you're boarding the aircraft, you need to look around to see who you might be able to ask to help you, like a good Samaritan, because you're on your own. If anything happens, please don't wait. There's going to be no law enforcement that's going to help you. So you need to have a plan. Look where the exit doors are. Look where your flight attendants are standing around you. But I would look at other passengers to see, I would be looking around for a football player or somebody, a pretty big guy or a couple big guys, in case you needed to take action.
Wow.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Look for big men to protect you. Because the marshals apparently aren't doing that. They're going after January 6 people that just happen to be, if you flew into Dulles or if you flew into Reagan, yeah, you're on their list. You are on their list. And if you are on their list and have concerns, please let me know. Carrie Nick Eric Show and any of the socials. You can get a hold of me. I would like to actually hear. That'd be interesting to hear what's going on with that. But maybe we are getting towards the England, North Korea sort of area in all this. Oh my gosh. So they'll go after those people, but leave the border wide open. I don't know what she's talking about with the border. It's an open door. It's an open border. We don't have a secure border. In fact, there's probably, they've run into at least 200 on terror watch lists coming through our borders. But yeah, so that's where they're going. They're not going after them because they don't have any idea where they are. But man, if you flew into DC during the month of January there for any particular reason, it doesn't even matter what the reason was, and if you didn't even go to the mall, yeah, the FBI, the marshals, they're on your butt. You better watch it. So yeah, that's what the government is doing. Instead of going after bad guys, going after the people that actually do harm to the United States, yeah, they're going after like probably grandmas and that flew into DC to be with family or whatever. So that's what they're doing. So maybe we are. So that's why you gotta know what's going on. You gotta know the Constitution. You gotta know the laws. You gotta know this stuff. You gotta know the history. Time to wake up. But yeah, so that's lovely, isn't it? It's Joe Biden's America, man. Joe Biden's America. Yeah, his may God save the Queen, man. After she had passed away, but that was this year, I believe. Over the summer, he said that after she passed. There was no explanation for that. But so I want to get into Thanksgiving here, since it is Thanksgiving Eve. I thought it was important to go back in time to the first Thanksgiving. Can everybody picture it? There's no highways, there's no major cities, there's no cities really at all. There's no cars causing global warming. So thank goodness for that. Back in the 1600s, there was no cars that were causing global warming. The ice caps weren't melting. Greta Thunberg wasn't there. Al Gore, John Kerry, they all weren't there preaching their global warming religion. But it was interesting as I kind of read up on the first Thanksgiving here, and kind of why we celebrate it. So New England, obviously, if you don't know, hopefully you do. Please tell me you do. But I guess those, if you're not from America, like some of this audience is, you probably don't know. But the Pilgrims, they came over from Europe because they were looking for religious freedom. Because if you did not belong to the Church of England or wherever it was that you were from, they kind of made you do it. And there were people that didn't want to. And so, obviously, look at what happened in England today. That was a few years ago that, in 2018 where that woman was arrested. But still, it was happening. That, they wanted religious freedom. They wanted freedom to believe and do and worship God in the way that they saw fit. And you could not do that over there in England during that time period. And apparently you can't even pray on a city street to yourself in England anymore now. So it's kind of interesting how it's gone completely the other way. But so anyway, so there were people that came across what's called the Mayflower, and my grandparents doing genealogy. They were amazing at doing genealogy. My mom's parents. I have an ancestor who came over on the Mayflower, so that's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty awesome. That they help. I'm sure there's tons of people out there that do, seeing how, just how much the population is here. But so I do have somebody that came over. I forget his name, and I'm not gonna bother looking it up right this second. But they landed in New England. Obviously, you got Plymouth Rock there in Massachusetts, and then they landed in Virginia. Or what would be, Virginia. So New England and Virginia colonists originally celebrated what's called Days of Fasting, which I want to get into that, just kind of remember that, as well as Days of Thanksgiving, thanking God for blessing such as harvests, ship landings, military victories, or the end of a drought. Now, you hear about droughts and you hear about different things going on here in the United States, but I was sitting there thinking about, after I read this, and I was sitting there thinking about it, I'm like, we don't really have that kind of an experience anymore. if there's a drought, it's like you just turn on your faucet, and then, if there's a little water, that'll tell you not to water your lawn or whatever. Your lawn looks like a desert. Ours did. We didn't even bother because, first of all, the prices are outrageous. I'm not going to, spend money to have the sun bake it off. So, our backyard looked like a desert. But yeah, we don't really have that anymore here in the U.S. I feel like, if there's a drought, you just go buy a bottle of water, or you just turn your faucet on and you got water. So we don't really have that problem anymore, which is amazing. First of all, that we have been so blessed that we don't have that, where, there's other places in the world that do still. So anyway, so those different things, harvest, ship landing, military victories, end of droughts, and things, they were observed through church services, okay? So there was church involved, accompanied with feasts and other communal gatherings. The event that Americans commonly call the first Thanksgiving was celebrated by the Pilgrims after their first harvest in the New World, which would have been New England, in November of 1621, so, a couple years ago. The feast lasted 3 days. Man, that'd be awesome, huh? 3-day Thanksgiving. And was attended by 90 Native Americans, and I'm going to probably butcher this name, so I apologize if you're from this tribe, but the Wampanoag people. So apologize. That's probably not how you say that, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. And 53 survivors of the Mayflower. Less widely known, there was another Thanksgiving celebration a couple years prior to that by the English settlers who had landed in Virginia. So Thanksgiving has been celebrated nationally off and on since 1789 with a proclamation by George Washington after a request by Congress. Could you imagine that? Oh my gosh. If it was today, it just wouldn't happen today. Unfortunately, because there's this whole like I was talking earlier about this stupid separation of church and state that doesn't exist in the Constitution. It was, I'll get into that later. It was or maybe another time. It was a letter by Thomas Jefferson to a Baptist preacher in Connecticut. But yeah, it's just, George Washington had a proclamation of Thanksgiving. Congress did it. Other presidents have done it. It wasn't then until President Abraham Lincoln in 1863, so a few years later, just a couple years ago, proclaimed a national day of thanksgiving and praise to our beneficent Father. Anyway, sorry, I had a little technical difficulty. Who dwelleth in heavens, calling on the American people to also with humble penitence for our national perverseness and disobedience, fervently implore the interposition of the Almighty hand to heal the wounds of the nation. So Lincoln declared it last Thursday of November, and it wasn't until like the 1940s that it was official. But isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that George Washington and other presidents, Abraham Lincoln, perverse. Talk about the country being perverse and disobedient today. Good gracious, look at what's going on around the country. And there's some perversion going on. There's just a little bit when men think they can become women and women think they can become men, and then they want to do all kinds of weird, nasty crap with kids. That's a little perverse, plus just everything else. So I think we're kind of there. But another thing, we kind of need to do the same thing. We need the little humbling, humble ourselves and repent a little bit. But the thing that I really wanted to get to here as well is the fasting that is such an important thing, because it shows to God that you are willing to not eat for, and what they did was they did for about a day, to help, because they wanted help from God. That's the reason they came here, was to get help from Him. And they fasted for their crop. They fasted to make sure they had harvest. They fasted for all kinds of different reasons. And so it's just amazing that these people did that. And then we have to get back to that. We absolutely have to get back to that point where we come to God in thanksgiving and humility. So hopefully that happens tomorrow. Hopefully, if you are out there with your family, and I know if you hear this and it's obviously past Thanksgiving, still apply it. Still apply it to what you do throughout the rest of your life. To constantly give thanks to God and all of His amazing blessings, because we don't have to sit there and suffer through droughts. We don't have to sit there and hope the heck that they're on the land that the crops are growing or anything like that. What what do we complain about? We complain about our sports teams if they don't lose to whatever championship they're in, or whatever game, or if a traffic light is too long, or it's just we just don't have those same things. And it's because of these people here, the pilgrims that came over, that set this nation into motion, the founding fathers, George Washington and others like him, Abraham Lincoln, who turned our country's soul back to God. And we absolutely need that. When you've got people out there saying that it's a right that they have to kill an unborn child. No, that is not a right. That is not a right. And this whole idea that you have to keep God out of everything in public eye, that's not what they were saying. What they said was that they did not want a state-run church, is what that was meaning. That it wasn't to keep God out of everything to do with the state, and not to promote one sort of church above another. Is if you want to worship this, that's kind of how that goes. But it wasn't to keep Him out. It was to keep the state out of the church. So, yeah, we absolutely have to get back to that, because if we don't, we're going to end up just like freaking North Korea. If you look at the news, today there was it was breaking news story today that there was a car explosion at the Niagara Falls. And at first, it was kind of reported as a terrorist activity, and, just different things like that. But, we have to get back to, turning back to God, though, and realize who we are, that we are all children of God. And just be thankful for all of the amazing blessings that we have. And, there are some things that are very real to people and that are going on. And those things are very real. Yes, I understand. I mean, me and my wife were talking about some things. I was, one of the other facilities that I visit, I was talking to this lady, and, we were talking about different divorces. She was kind of amazed that I get along, I get along fine well with, my ex-wife. Everything's fine. But her story, I was listening to her story, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm not going to go into detail about what happened, but it was very different. Very, very different. Very awful. Very different. And I was sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful that mine wasn't like that at all. I'm like thinking, oh man, I'm not too bad. And, me and my wife were talking about that last night too, where some of the things that we think are so awful really, if you're put in the right perspective, really aren't that bad. But in the moment, yeah, sure, they do seem like that. Like we don't have to worry about droughts or harvest. And the cost of those things, of water and food, will go up. So I guess we're tried that way. But please do be thankful. Please do be thankful. I'm thankful for this great audience. I'm thankful for the people that come in and listen to the show. I'm doing this from the office of my house at the moment. With hopes of getting bigger, hopes of reaching more people, hopes of making this, a bigger audience. I don't really care about the money. If you make money or any of that, that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I feel like I feel like I need to do it. I feel like I need to get another voice out there telling people that it's okay. There are things that are going bad, but it's okay. There are really good things that are still going on in the country. That are still going on in the world. But yeah, I am definitely thankful for this opportunity to do this and the freedom that I have to be able to come and make this podcast, to make all these other funny little things that I do. The freedom of speech, absolutely thankful for that. The freedom of religion, absolutely. I'm grateful that I can sit in church and not have to worry about being attacked. And thankful for the right, the Second Amendment, absolutely, because without the Second Amendment, the rest of it kind of falls apart. And just thankful for all the different things that I have here in the United States. And there are still good people out there in the world. So I hope you do have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hopefully we all get nice and fat. Eating lots of turkey and pie and mashed potatoes and everything else that comes along. But I do hope that everybody does have a great Thanksgiving. Be safe. Please be safe. Like this lady I showed did that clip earlier. Watch her 6. But yeah, hopefully everybody has a great Thanksgiving. Thank you so much to everybody who listens to this show. Please do share it with family, friends, enemies. If you have any questions or comments or anything you'd like to hear about or anything, please do reach me on any of the socials. The Facebook. I got Facebook, X, TikTok, True Social, and I do post things on YouTube as well. So just if anything you want to hear, just let me know. The content for these shows is pretty easy. Like right now, I'm looking at this time, thinking, man, I was only gonna do like 30 minutes, and it's 53. But just a great opportunity. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to. I just want to thank everybody who listens to the show. Thank you for everybody who interacts with all the fun little things that I do. And hopefully you have a great Thanksgiving, and hopefully the parade is good. Hopefully the 49ers win. I'm thankful for that. But have a great week. Rest of the week I will come back next Thursday, so it'll be a little bit longer. And have a great week and Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.